And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday webinar for the 13th of October. And good morning, everybody. Hope you're well. I can see Henry's joined. Hello, Henry.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Matt. You're right.
Good. Thank you very much. Good. Thank you. And here's Laura. Welcome.
Hi, guys.
Hi. How are you, Laura?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. I'm good. I'm feeling good. I'm ready to explore the world of SEO content today.
Brilliant. Okay, so as Laura says, today we're looking at SEO, specifically content writing on your website. So we're really excited about this one. This will be a really good one to watch back as well. So obviously we're recording it and we'll be popping it up onto our website. And if you haven't already been to the page on our website where all the webinars can be found, it is just www.infoserve.com/webinar. So infoserve.com/webinar. That's the page where you'll find the recordings. You'll find the registration if you want to share the registration page. So just share that page with friends and businesses. And you'll find our blog, a link to our blog as well. So have a look through that page. I've added some really good content on there, including a really useful blog that actually Laura writes a lot of that blog. So if you do check out our blog, you'll see a lot of the content there written by Laura herself. So yeah, just to get going, let's get going. So Laura is a SEO content writer with years of experience and has worked with some of the biggest brands in the UK. And before she started working with InfoServe, she was working at a huge e-commerce, big agency, digital marketing agency. And so she's had some amazing experience and she really knows her stuff. And yeah, I'm really pleased about having Laura on this webinar. So Laura, what I'm going to do is actually just whilst I share my screen, introduce yourself. I've just introduced yourself for you, but is there anything else you want to say? Give us a bit of an insight into where particularly your skills. So in terms of SEO content writing, what does that mean, and how do your skills lie with that? Give us a bit of a.
Yeah, so like if we take it back to the basics, I did an English degree and then I was kind of finding myself a little bit. I thought I wanted to go into teaching and then I ended up doing a master's in international marketing, and then I just found that SEO content writing was not something I even really knew existed at the time, and then it just kind of combines my two worlds together of marketing and English together, and it's like combined both of them together. And so like Matt says, I've now been doing it for a good few years now. So I feel like, I've found something that's working for me. So I'm enjoying it.
And really pleased to have you on. I know it's your first webinar as well. So I've looked at your content and it's really, really good. So we're gonna fly through some really good content, useful content for all small business owners today. Any business owner really. This is applicable for everyone. And so we're gonna go through that. And obviously we'd recommend watching this back because there is a lot of content coming up. So you might want to watch this back and pause and rewind, etc. later on. But yeah, I think when it comes to SEO content writing, Laura, essentially it's all about writing content on your website. It's that content that sits on your website. It is not as easy as people think. It's not just a case of putting in, a keyword or two and thinking about, what kind of keywords people might be searching for. There's a lot more depth to it. It's not just about writing any old blog and sticking loads of content in the blog. There's a real science to it. There's a real there's a bit of like mystery around it as well. And there is a bit of there's a lot of secrecy around what is it that we need to write to help our websites get ranked higher on Google. And looking at some of the stuff you're going to go through today, you're going to be showing people some of those tips and insights and secrets, I guess, as to how they can get their website ranked higher on Google through just some easy content, right? It's quite easy, some of this to do, isn't it, Laura?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think sometimes people think that they've got an SEO content strategy in place, but I think once we go through a couple of things today, they might realize that there's a couple more things they could be doing, or there'll be some people that aren't doing anything. So it kind of works for everyone. So if there's anything that you can even pick up from here, it'd be great.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. And so there will be one or two things that everyone's going to pick up here. And those one or two things will have huge impacts on your Google ranking. It'll have a huge impact on that. And so we've picked out the best stuff here. So it's all about helping you get found higher on Google, some actionable tips that you can implement and put into practice today. You can literally go on your website, we're doing this, so you can just literally type out some content and some ideas that you take away, or you can do a bit of research on the back of this. So we might just kind of set you off in the right direction here. That's all it might do, which is a good thing. So Laura, yeah, I think what I'll do is, obviously I'm sharing my screen. You can probably see that. Yeah, great. So I'll go through this, and then obviously you're going to be talking about some of these bits and bobs. So we'll start with high value content. So take it away, Laura.
Yeah, so the more relevant content that is related to your business, the more that you are going to show up in organic searches. So Google is becoming more and more aware, and you need to build that trust with Google. So the more that you try and help your customer through having all relevant content on your website, the more Google is going to trust you. So the reason that we have SEO content is to build brand awareness, get people to know about your brand, and that's without them just searching you directly into the search bar. And it's also to convince, like I've just said, Google to know that you're a reliable source of information. And it's also to get you quality and quantity of inbound links. So it's not just about getting traffic to your website, it's getting quality traffic to your website. So it's people that are going to be searching for things that relate to your business or your service.
And SERP means what, Laura? Just for everyone's...
So it's basically just the search engine results page. So what comes up on the search engine.
So that's it. Those are the kind of three goals that we have here. Obviously, it will build brand awareness, like you say, and we've touched on that last week a little bit and the week before. And the best thing you've mentioned here is convincing the search engine results at Google that you are a reliable source of information. That is really important, that you're giving good information, reliable information.
So how do we do this? So it's on-site content, whether you've got service pages, just even about pages, just all of the content that's on your site, it needs to be embedded with keywords, and you need to be using your product pages and category descriptions wisely, whether you are e-commerce or whether you are a service you offer. You could be a vet, work in the hotel industry. It literally applies to everyone. You need, as Matt mentioned last week, FAQs are becoming so important because that's the way that people are searching. List formats, so that's Google reads things in a particular way, which I'll cover later, and everything needs to be in a really easy to understand form. So if you've got lists and guides on your website, this is just really easy for Google to read, as well as blog posts, which you can incorporate a lot of different types of content into your blog posts.
Really good points. And what I would advise the audience to do, and by the way, just looking at the numbers, we've got absolutely loads of people in today. So if, and no doubt they'll mention something in the chat, they'll probably want to ask a question. We would encourage that. So if any of you have got questions as we go along, please just drop that into the chat, and Henry will shout out and let us know of any questions in the chat. But yeah, lists and guides, that's something I've not touched on before in the webinar. Just to elaborate on that, you're saying, in terms of Google reads that content, easier, or is it more effective content if it's in lists and guides?
So Google loves bullet points. It loves numbered lists, and it loves really short, snappy bits of content. So blocky bits of text, I don't know if Google gets bored, but they're just like, no, that's enough from us. So it just needs to be really easy to read, and that's why like guides and how-to guides and numbered and bullet points and anything that you can do to make it really easy to navigate.
I did not know that. That is actually really interesting. I didn't realize that that kind of structured content is important for when it comes to SEO. So that's really interesting. So lists and guide bullet points. It's good because we have been talking to the audience in previous webinars and last year about breaking down content and putting it as some of it into bullet point format, especially when it comes to kind of unique selling points and reasons why I would choose this business. That's got to come across pretty quickly when you land on a website. I'm sure you'd agree, Laura, when you go onto a website, what you kind of need to show first and foremost is show that visitor why they should choose you. And a good way to display that content is bullet point format.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's some, like we said last week as well, people have got such a short attention span now, and they've got so much choice. So making you the easiest and highest ranking is the way to do that is through your content.
Yeah. And articles as well. Sorry, there's the last one there, just articles. What does that mean, articles? Sorry.
Yeah, so if you're a business and you particularly say you're a solicitor, or you are working banking, or you've got something that's quite particular that some people may not have complete in-depth knowledge on, sometimes articles are good in terms of like what's in the news and what's trending, and that can be a really good thing just to know, that to show that your customers that you're in the know, you know what's going on in the industry, and you are, again, a reliable source of information.
Okay, cool. Okay. So we're going to touch on product pages, because you mentioned product pages and category descriptions. Okay, so I'd like to learn a little bit more about this and what transactional keywords actually mean.
Yeah, so like I say, the example that we've got here on the right is an e-commerce site, but this can be used on it for any type of business. So whether you are a brewery and you need to put all of your different types of beers into categories, you literally need to be ordering everything into categories, whether that's down to, like we've got here, animal print shoes, white t-shirts. We need to make it so that whatever people are searching, if people are being really specific with their searching, that you can get to the top of that ranking. So we're going to be using transactional keywords. By transactional keywords, we mean words that people would type into the search bar in order to purchase something. So if I was going to be looking for some black work shoes, I would type in black shoes or black work shoes. And it's what you would do is you would embed those keywords into short and long descriptions. So the short description is at the top of the page, and the long description is normally at the bottom of the page. So your short description will have all of these keywords in, and it'll also embed links through to other related products or services. So say you were selling pajamas, the chances are that someone might want a pair of slippers to go with that. So you would link through to your slippers page. If you're a hotel, you would maybe put some information at the top of your page, and it could link through to the spa that's part of the package that you could get. It's all about making those links directly through. So if you're going to be putting a long description at the bottom of your page, it can be good to use H2s and H3s. And by that, I mean header 2 and header 3. So these can be also informational. So what you can do is you could look up questions that people are searching. So if someone's put what to wear with animal print shoes, you could put that at the bottom of your page, answer the question, and then if anyone's typing that, then they're like, oh, there's some animal print shoes I like. It's all about leading the customer journey through your product pages and category descriptions. So again, if you have a service and people are searching, say, I'm trying to think, if you were a particular business and someone was searching, so I've worked with wheelchair companies before, and if someone's like, what's the best type of wheelchair for outdoor use, you could put that at the bottom of your page, and then you've got all of your products as well on there. So it's also given really important information, as well as adding your transactional keywords on there as well.
Great. Okay, that's really good. That makes sense. And that is applicable for all, like you say, all types of businesses. And again, that H2, H3, the headings, heading 2 and heading 3 tip there at the bottom of the page and things like that. That's useful. Again, I didn't know about that, so that's a good one.
Just to interrupt you guys, I think going back to the amount of content just before the transactional keywords bit, Amanda's got a good question. She said, would you say these rules apply to content writing on social media posts as well?
Yeah, that's obviously different, because this is to do with website content, so the content on your website. But when it comes to social media, you're referring there really to how people consume content. Yeah. So yes, definitely, I would agree. I mean, Laura, you've got social media expertise as well. But my take on that would be keep it bullet point format. Don't go with long-winded content on social media posts, because as you say, people don't tend to read as much these days, unless it is really high value content, unless it's really informative, interesting content. But at the end of the day, who's interested really in businesses and reading all about, we just need to see that content broken down, don't we, Laura, even on social posts?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when it comes to social posts, I would just keep that as short as possible. I mean, you can put a few keywords in there, but the thing is when it comes to social media, I think it's to make it as interesting as possible. It's to make someone want to click on it or want to know more. And so it's kind of not giving everything away, I think, with social media posts.
Oh, yeah. Good point as well. Yeah, definitely want to kind of tease them and get them to click something. That's a very good
point. And then that can take you through to the blog, or it can take you through to the page that's got all of the really rich information on.
And it's the same with email marketing, isn't it? You want to kind of tease them and then get them to click on something to go to a landing page which has all of that really good content, all that informative content. But it's interesting. Someone's asked about Amanda, about the social media. I think Laura, if Laura enjoys doing this, and maybe she could join us in the future for the social media session that we're going to be doing, because there's one big part to social media, and that is content writing, isn't it, Laura? And you've got a lot of experience in writing content for social media posts. And you've just given me a tip there, which I didn't really consider too much, is that you want to keep it minimal so that people click on the link to go and read and go and see that content elsewhere. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, because the more people are clicking on the links, the more it's building the authority in the post, and the more it's going to get seen. So we want to get those clicks.
Boom. Yes, absolutely right. Well, you're definitely joining us for the social one, which is coming up. All right, carry on. Sorry, Laura.
So coming to blog posts, as Matt mentioned, having a blog is so important. But I find that the biggest mistake that businesses make is making their blogs too service specific. So what I mean by that is sometimes I'll go on a customer's blog, or I'll go onto a services blog, and everything will be tried to gear around the service. So say you sell fencing. I've seen blogs that are like how to paint a fence, how to build a fence, and it's all just like very repetitive stuff. And it's like, does anybody really want to read that? It might have search volume, but what we can do, which I'll show you later, is put all that into one blog, get all of the information into one long guide, and then you can create some more interesting posts that will lead you to the same point. So, and also too many blogs with the same content is bad for SEO. So what we need to do is make them broader, and I'm going to show you how to do that throughout today as well.
Too many blogs with the same type of content, bad for it. Okay, yeah. So you're gonna elaborate on that, aren't you, in a little bit?
Yeah, I'm gonna elaborate on that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Interesting stuff. Okay.
So one of the first things that I would want people to do if they were going to start building a blog is to get to know their audience. So there's Google Analytics tools that will help you do this. So you can search for your business or brand, look at your audience, your demographics, and then overview. And then again, you can look at what interests. So the demographics will tell you what percentage of male and females visiting in your site, what age groups visit in your site, and also the interests, which is the most in-depth thing that you can find, is it'll show you what types of websites people have been visiting before they reached you. So if someone is searching for a particular thing, and then before you they've been looking for a hotel or travel, you know that that's the type of thing they're interested in. So if you have a shoe brand and you've got a large proportion of people that are interested in travel, you can look at the best types of shoes for traveling around and aren't going to cause you pain on the feet and things like that. So it's all about gearing your content to the people that are your audience.
Okay.
And then
go on. Sorry.
So what you want your audience to do, so you really need to think about what you want your audience to do after they read your article. So do you want them to engage? Do you want them to buy stuff? Do you want them to fill in a form? And it's really important that you pin those down before you even start writing, because otherwise it can just go off on a little bit of a tangent and you don't really have any sort of purpose towards the reason why you've actually created the content, and it's not really aimed at anyone.
Okay, so just to go back to that, on the Google Analytics side, search your chosen brand, look at the audience. So you're literally saying if you go into Google Analytics and you go through this process of clicking on audience, demographics, is this what you're doing?
That's the exact direct route. So you will go onto the business, then you will click audience, and then you'll click the demographics, and then an overview, and it'll literally give you a full overview of the people that are looking at your site and the people that are clicking on there.
For most businesses watching this, they'll probably have just one Google Analytics set up for their business. So you'll be straight into Google Analytics, click on audience, as Laura says, and then go to demographics. So you're looking for the audience tab on the left-hand side, demographics, and then overview. And that's what Laura's referring to here. It's really, really helpful stuff, that actually audience. And then the second one just was for the interest. That's right, when you're looking to get...
Yes, it'll give you a percentage. It'll give you a couple of different types of categories. So it could be travel, it could be fashion, it could be ladies apparel, like it kind of sports, and it all comes up on there.
Okay.
So we want to, as I mentioned earlier, we don't want it to be too service specific. So what we need to think of is relevant topics. So say you've got a recycled fashion brand. A blog topic you could explore is cosmetics that use recycled packaging, sustainable products. So you've got a user that could be searching, they might be new to wanting to be more of a green person, so they're recycling the recycled packaging, they're looking at sustainable products, and they're looking for brands that they want to purchase from. So if they're interested in cosmetics, the chances are they're probably quite interested in the fashion as well. So then again, that's creating new leads directly straight through from your blog. So you would explore all your recycled packaging and sustainable products throughout the blog and all the different cosmetics, and then you would also have a link straight through to some of the products of your service offers, and then people can click directly from there straight through onto your brand or business.
Perfect. Okay.
And a way that we can stop having a lot of duplicate content on a blog is to get cluster topics. So we get a number of commonly asked queries into one blog, and then that will extend the dwell time. So I know we want short, snappy content, so this might feel like kind of contradicting, but what you want is someone to spend a lot of time on that page. So you want short, snappy content, but within a longer blog. So here is something that I created for the Ultimate Hair Guide. So I had a look at all of what people were searching all about hair, so how to get thicker hair, and then I go through all of the steps. As you can see, it's all numbered down there, and then you've got links to some products as well there. Then you've got how to stop your hair from tangling. Again, we'll go straight down again, and that will all be again into number content, and then links through to products. Again, how to make curls last longer. So it just goes on and on, and anyone that's searching any of these will bring them directly straight to the same blog. So you're building more authority to it, more clicks to it, and then you're also people, if someone decides to scroll down and have a look for longer, the longer that someone spends on there, the longer the dwell time increases, which is great for SEO, and that's what Google loves. It loves information that's really convenient, easy to read, and has everything that they need. And then again, we just have a link through, and then you can book different parts, and it's always good to keep having those call to actions in there as well.
Yeah, you've got lots of links as well to deep into the website, other parts of the website here, and yeah, I can see what you're doing here, Laura, with this one. It's just exactly what you've been talking about, is having everything on this one blog article rather than splitting it up. And I think the big takeaway for me here, that you've just mentioned this phrase, dwell time. That's clearly an important part of for SEO, isn't it? It's
yeah, and if someone goes onto the website and comes straight back off it, that'll be classed as a bounce time. And bounce times is what we don't want. We don't want someone to go onto the page and then bounce straight off, because then that deems to Google that it's not a useful piece of information. So that's why it's really important that we get all of the really important content at the top of the blog as well, so that people could see that straight away.
Okay, Brill. Okay, just putting my screen back on there. So yeah, okay. So an interesting one to think about, that dwell time and having people read that content, a longer page of all of that helpful information. And that link there, in that website, it's rm-uk.com. They've obviously got a blog that Laura is writing for them. So it's a good one to have a little look at and maybe take away some ideas. But dwell time, I think I'll come back to that in another webinar as well, because that's I'm aware as well that that's a massive part of Google's algorithm, and how it's a signal that impacts ranking as well. So that ranking factor is super important when it comes to dwell time. So how can we get people to stay on the website longer? And video is another way to do that as well, but that's going off on a tangent a little bit there. But letting you carry on, Laura. So long form content is an important one as well, isn't it?
Yes, as we've just had a look there, that was an example of a long form content. This is favoured by Google with 3 times more traffic, 4 times more shares and backlinks. So sorry, but it's goodbye to your 500 word blogs that most businesses think suffice on the website, because Google's just had enough of them. It doesn't want them anymore. So we need to make them longer. So the good thing that you could do automatically is, if you've got a blog now and you've got two 500 word blogs that could be put them together into one blog and republish it. So then you're creating a longer blog straight away.
Wow.
And again, we need to be helping Google out by telling them what the content's about. So make sure you're using headers. Make sure you're using H2s and H3s, questions, prompts, bullet points, and numbered lists, again, like we've always mentioned, and keep it relevant. I know if you're saying we need long form content, you could be really tempted to just fluff it with loads of information that's got nothing to do with the actual topic, but it literally needs to be relevant. So that's why it's really good to have loads of different types of search terms in there. So then no information's getting fluffed. It's literally just like question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. And again, if we're making long form content, we need to watch out for our load speed, because again, that's something that Google doesn't like. If it takes too long to load, and customers don't like that as well either. So we need to make sure that all of our images are small enough and are in JPEG format and things like that, so that everything flows really nicely when we loading up that page. And again, using anchor links to relevant search pages. So it's no point having a long piece of content if it doesn't link through to anything that's relevant on or that it links through to your services pages or to your website, because that's the reason that your SEO content is there, is just to make people aware of you.
Okay. So this is called long form content. Yeah, okay, it totally makes sense now. I think, if anyone has any questions about that or wants further help on this, because we've mentioned blogging before, but not to this detail and accuracy in terms of advice that we, in terms of writing the blog. So if you want any more help with that, just reach out to us, guys. Obviously, we're here to give you this free advice and this free help. Genuinely, we're not going to suddenly start selling you blog writing or anything like that. So if you just want any free advice, Laura's there. Laura is at the end of the phone call. Just pop onto our website and drop us a message, and Laura will reach out to you, because I think this is really important. And so long form content. And you've mentioned at the end of this call to actions, which we've talked about in previous webinars. I think we're all pretty good with that now, in terms of make sure you're leading that person, that visitor, somewhere. Don't just leave them hanging with a journey that doesn't finish off going somewhere. So finish that journey off, use a call to action, get them to a relevant part of the website to get that conversion, essentially. This one's interesting. I saw this just earlier. You were mentioning about the EAT. I'm curious about this, Laura. Explain to me and the audience what this means, and what are you talking about when it comes to EAT principles?
Yeah, so if sorry, if you just click onto the next,
and
then you'll be able to see that. So we've got expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. So aside from your content, you need to make sure that Google knows that you are someone who cares about your customers. So whether it's someone leaving you a review, you need to be responding to it. So we're not just talking about content that's on blogs. We're not just it's like being active with your content on site. So you need to be updating it regularly. So if you've got a blog that you've not touched in 2 years, Google is again like they're not updating. Are they still relevant? Do they still exist?
That's bad for SEO then. If a blog's not been updated in a long time, that's bad basically for SEO.
Yeah, it's bad. So yeah, if you either need to update it, you can even if you went in, changed a few things, which I'll cover later. It's just it just looks like it's like you're neglecting it, and it looks like you're neglecting the customers to Google. So, yeah, authoritativeness. So that's uploading a lot, and then that's also, like I said, and then building that trustworthiness. So they all kind of interlink together. But again, it's expertise. So you need to be making sure that what you are putting on there is accurate information as well. So if you are going to be writing a blog about something, make sure that it's something that you do have some sort of indication of that everything that you're writing on there is true, because Google's getting smarter, and it doesn't like anything that's wrong information or information that's not helpful to the user. So say you were trying to push a particular service, but you tried to put it as a different type of blog, they will know straight away that this isn't actually what you're saying that it is, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, so they're getting smarter then with what it is you're actually typing, what it is, the content, what it's about, essentially, and the content itself. Okay, so you need to make sure. So obviously, would you recommend a professional blog writer, or can small business owners, SMB owners, can they do this themselves with confidence that it's gonna have a good impact? Is it risky to do it yourself?
I think it's always good to have someone that's on there that's doing it, because I know a lot of businesses themselves, they don't have the time, and they don't have a lot. It takes a lot of research. I think people underestimate how much background research goes into keyword research and how much into trending topics and things like that. I think that sort of can be missed, I think, because people are like, right, I need to get a blog on there. I've got half a day now, and I'll just throw something together and put it on there. And I think that you see that a lot in a lot of the blogs. So of course, have a go yourself, and if anyone needs any advice or wants me to have a look over anything, I'm happy to do that as well. It's one of them. Yeah,
it is one. Yeah, and I think it's just have a go. I think that's the thing, and maybe time is the problem here for business owners, and it is worth putting an hour aside every once a month, even if it was just once a month, just an hour or two, just to focus on the blog, because the blog is the most overlooked area of the website, I think. So just put a bit of time aside, as Laura says, and see if you can have a go. And we're here if you need us. But I thought it was also interesting where you're saying here to update and remove old blog posts. So just talk me through that, because I've never heard that before, Laura, if I'm honest. So actually removing old blog posts?
Yeah, so if there's a blog that's laying dormant, nobody's looking at it, nobody's searching for it, it's actually sometimes easier to just get rid of it. It's not blog, then it's not it's not going to pull down your rankings. So you need all of your blogs posts to be something that someone's looking for, or even if there's one person who spent a long time on your blog, that is useful information. So what you could do, you could go into that older blog, you could update your headings, your keywords. Keywords are constantly changing, so that's something to be really aware of. So it's always good to go in and refresh your blogs. So and especially if it's seasonal. So say you've done a seasonal blog I've done one for RM UK there for Halloween looks. Next year it would be useful to me going and say, are they still the keywords that are trending in that? Is that still? And then just rework the headings, rework the keywords, the call to actions, maybe update some of the images, because we all know how fast imagery is updated, and the sleeker things look, the better, really. And then what you would do with the publish date is you would keep everything exactly the same, so you're not losing any of your clicks that have already gone on there. You're not losing anything that anyone's already looked at, and then you would just change the publish date. So instead of getting the blog and reposting it, you're just literally changing the published date, so then it's just going to appear higher up. So you're not losing any of the traffic that's already come through. So
if there's anything that someone can take away today, it's that. I mean, that's just an easy, actionable point for any business owner. A lot of websites do have a blog. So I see a lot of websites, and all of our clients have blogs, which is great. But much of the time it's outdated. They've got old posts from 2018, being the last one. So the tip here is literally just to go back into those and update them and republish them. And the date will obviously change to today, and you can do the same next month. And that's a really easy actionable point there for any business owner. So you could essentially have 12 months of blogging and just update it if you really wanted to be lazy, and make sure you're adding more content to it to reap the rewards for SEO. So that's a really good point, Laura. I'm curious. I'll take that one away and speak to some of the clients I work with, because I know there's a few blogs out there that could just do with just go back into the old posts, update them.
Just want to make a point to be really conscious not to get the post and then repost it again. You need to just change the published date, because if you repost it again, then there's two blogs exactly the same, and that's duplicate content on your website. So be really careful not to do that.
Laura, just quickly, Jen has asked a question, said, should you remove old blogs that are ranking already?
No, if they're ranking already, keep them, don't lose them.
Okay.
It's literally just blogs that aren't ranking that are just laying dormant, really. But if they're an old blog and they've been ranking well, that would be a perfect blog to update. If it's already ranking, you're not losing any of the ranking that's already on there. You could just give it a little keyword push, a little heading push, and republish that as now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was about to say the same thing. That's a really good tip, Laura. Yeah. Okay. So
I've just got a few key tips. To plan, not too far in advance, because this is SEO and things change constantly. So that's keywords or trends and things. So create a plan, 3 to 6 months, I would say. 6 months is probably the maximum you could go with an SEO plan, because you need to revisit things and you need to make sure that the plan that you put in place is still going to work. And people are still searching those. So what I would do is just get your headings, get your keywords, and then it makes sure that you're doing it every month. It can be so easy to, if you're busy, you might forget it for that month, but creating a plan, it's like, right, I need to do that this month. And then don't forget about your metadata. So your metadata, it lays in the background of your blog. So this needs to be really specific towards the blog post that you're posting. And it also needs to use all of your keywords. So I'm sure that you might be aware of the metadata on your website. It works exactly the same, but just through the blog form.
Title tags, description tags. Yeah, the basic SEO stuff that we've highlighted before in previous webinars. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and don't stuff your article full of keywords. Like I said again, Google's getting smarter. It knows what you're doing. So they want content that people actually want to read, and that's what they care more about. So just throwing loads of keywords in there, it's not going to make it flow very well, and straight away it's going to be a turn off for someone reading it. They're just going to be like, oh, this is just pushing things. So it needs to be interesting and creative and want people to read it. And also link to, if you've already wrote a blog, you write something, the next one, link to your own posts. There's nothing stopping you from linking to your own post within your blog. So say I'm writing one for Yorkshire Escapes at the moment. So if someone's looking for like dog-friendly places, I've listed all those together. And then if looking for somewhere to eat, link through to that blog. It's about creating links throughout all of your own posts as well to create more authority.
Oh, there you go. That was the tip. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, very pressing it again.
David, sorry to interrupt. David's just got a question. He said, I have an information page about the way we light dolls up. The way we light dolls' houses. Would it be better to have a blog?
No, that would still work. But if you want to keep updating content and keep adding content on there, then a blog would be a good way to do that. So what was the topic again? Sorry.
The way they like dolls' houses. I'm guessing in terms of lighting and inside. Well, I think, David, correct me if I'm wrong.
As long as you could create a blog post about it that links to that page, as long as you didn't use any of the same types of content, as long as you didn't duplicate the content. So if you wrote about it in a different way, you could link through to that page through a blog post. So it's kind of creating the similar content on there. Hope that helps.
I think so. I hope that helps, David.
Nice. Well, let's have a look at the chat. And there's a few private ones as well, which we'll pick up, which you can do if you want to message us privately. You can do that in the chat. But anything else, Henry? You were hi to everyone as well. Sorry, at the beginning of the webinar, I wasn't saying hi. I usually do that. Laura, we didn't say hi to everyone.
I know. I think I just talked over you.
No, so hi, Graham. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Derek from the lovely Mallorca. Hi, Jen. Hi, David. Yeah, everyone's here. So there's lots and lots of people here today. So we're going to obviously put this on a recording, and it'll be on our webinar page, which is infoserve.com/webinar. It's correct, isn't it, Henry? Infoserve.com/.
Yep, I've put it up at the top, just at the top of the chat there, so you can click on it.
Fantastic. Laura, that was really, really helpful. There's a lot of information in there. I think if I could put you on the spot and ask for your key, a big key takeaway, one thing is quite a difficult question. What's the biggest thing you would recommend business owners to take away from this?
I think in this particular situation, it's revisit your old blog, have a look at it, and then see if there's anything you can implement straight away just by editing the existing blog that's on there. I think that's the best thing that you could do from here. If you don't have a blog, is get a blog. And then if you do have a blog, revisit your blog and see if there's anything that you can add in there. I think the best thing for them to do now is just go onto their websites and see if there's anything that they can implement in terms of content or blog-wise from on there. Really.
Perfect. Yeah, good. Henry?
And also to share across your social media pages as well. That's important.
Yeah, I mean, on that, actually, we should... Let's do a follow-up webinar on social media content writing, because I think one of the questions was about social media. It would be great to do one on how to write content, because I thinking about there's so many people. Henry, you probably have this as well. Lots and lots of business owners ask us, what should we do? How should we write our posts? Like, what do we put in the post? Yeah. Even what kind of images? How should I structure the content? So I think, Laura, your expertise on social media content writing would be great. Would you mind joining us for a webinar soon on that?
No, absolutely not. No, that's fine.
Anything else from you, Henry?
Well, there's one question here from Andrew. He has said, if a blog links to a page on the website, should the page also link back to the blog?
You can link to the blog throughout your website. Yeah, that's always good.
Okay.
Just yeah.
Great.
Go, Andrew.
Thank you for the questions, and thank you everyone else for your great questions today. And I think what we'll do is we normally run for the whole hour, but that is quite a lot. It's a long webinar, so we want to keep these short and sweet, useful information. Few tips for you to take away there. So we'll end it there. But what we'll do now is I'll have a chat with Laura. We'll set up that webinar for social media content writing. And maybe we'll do that next week. Maybe that's a good one for next week, Laura. So are you around next Wednesday for us, do you think?
I can make myself available next week.
Brilliant. Well, we might get another special guest to come in and join us for that as well. But we'll set that up. Look out for your emails, guys. If you need any help, anything, just go to that website link at the top of the chat there, /webinar. And I just would like to end by saying thank you, Laura. That was absolutely brilliant. I know you've got loads more tips and advice. Because I saw your notes and there was absolutely tons and tons of great advice. So if anyone needs any more help, just reach out to us. But thank you so much, Laura. It was wonderful.
Yeah, thanks, Laura. That was great.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in as well.
Thanks. And thanks, Henry, for being there, my trusty assistant.
Always here. Always here.
Always there.
All right, guys.
Right, we'll see you next week, same time, 11 a.m. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. See you later.
Bye-bye.